Becky Lynch is once again proving that she knows how to stir up reactions, and her latest comments have fans talking. In a recent interview, Becky called out a section of the WWE audience for their continued criticism of her 2021 return and what happened at SummerSlam that year. And the reason she's bringing it up now, years later, is because she's trying to set the record straight on something fans still seem to misunderstand. Becky isn't just trying to start drama, she's addressing a storyline decision that shaped the direction of her character and elevated someone else's career in the process. Right now, Becky Lynch holds the Women's Intercontinental Championship. She's set to defend the title against Lyra Valkyria at SummerSlam, and once again, she finds herself in that tricky space between helping build new stars and staying relevant as a top-tier talent. This isn't new territory for Becky. It's actually a full-circle moment that mirrors a similar situation she found herself in a few years ago. After taking time off in 2024 and returning in 2025, there were questions about how she would fit into the current WWE landscape. What she's done since her return is continue to elevate newer talent like Lyra Valkyria and help push the legacy of stars like Bayley forward. This entire arc reflects back on her 2021 comeback. That was the year she made a surprise return at SummerSlam after being off television since 2020 when she left due to pregnancy. Becky had to vacate the Raw Women's Championship, and during her absence, Bianca Belair rose to prominence. At SummerSlam 2021, Bianca had just defeated Carmella when Becky made her shocking return. The crowd erupted, the atmosphere shifted, and then in just seconds, Becky defeated Bianca to win the SmackDown Women's Championship. The move was divisive. Some fans were thrilled, others were confused or even upset. They felt Bianca had her moment stolen from her. Fast forward to 2025, Becky is now reflecting on that decision and using the Sports Illustrated interview to explain why she thinks fans missed the bigger picture. According to Becky, the whole sequence was part of a long-term story arc. She even pointed out that Bianca's eventual victory over her at WrestleMania 38 completed the story in a satisfying way. Bianca's backflip out of Becky's finisher into the KOD was a highlight reel finish that gave the audience the closure they needed. Becky admitted it may not have been the slickest match, but it was a moment that solidified Bianca's status as a top star. Becky also addressed why some fans still seem bitter about that SummerSlam squash. She believes that if people are still hung up on it, they missed the larger narrative. The story wasn't about Becky stealing a win, it was about launching a compelling, long-term rivalry that benefited both women. And while Becky came back to a huge ovation and technically wasn't positioned as a heel immediately, her actions in the ring told a different story. She interrupted Bianca's moment, took advantage of a surprise scenario, and walked away with the title. That's heel behavior by most definitions. People complaining that she didn't turn heel properly or immediately seemed to forget that she didn't earn a title shot, took advantage of a fatigued champion, and walked away like a thief in the night. That's classic villain stuff. And it was done on purpose to shift her character in a new direction. From there, she began her big-time Bex persona, a more arrogant, flashy, fame-obsessed version of herself that clearly leaned heel. It wasn't universally loved, but it was a necessary shift in her evolution. Becky also made a broader point about how wrestling operates. The money is rarely in the champion holding onto the belt for years, unless you're someone like Roman Reigns or Hulk Hogan. Most of the time, WWE thrives on the babyface chasing the title, not holding it. Bianca losing at SummerSlam and then spending months working her way back to eventually beat Becky made her journey more meaningful. It gave fans someone to root for and allowed Bianca to become the resilient underdog. In the process, it helped shape Bianca into a long-term main event star. And Becky played her role perfectly in that story. She didn't just take the spotlight, she helped build someone else's credibility through conflict. The moment Bianca beat her at WrestleMania, it wasn't just revenge, it was a culmination of a story arc that lasted an entire year. Becky's point is that if a single decision can not only define one superstar's legacy but also help shape another's, that's the kind of booking that elevates the entire division. She's not trying to rewrite history, she's just highlighting what actually happened. Some fans still argue that Becky should have come back in 2021 and slowly worked her way into the title picture rather than immediately squash Bianca, but WWE made a calculated choice. Surprise returns lead to moments, moments lead to storylines, storylines build careers. Becky didn't bury Bianca, she started a year-long arc that helped both of them, and Becky believes if you can shift two careers with one storyline, you've done something right. As of now, Becky continues to use her influence to elevate others. Lyra Valkyria, for example, is receiving a major spotlight at SummerSlam because of Becky. She's doing what all the greats do in the latter stages of their careers, helping the next generation succeed while still remaining relevant herself. And she's doing it while holding a championship that didn't even exist when she first became the man. Becky Lynch's ability to balance star power with mentorship is one of the reasons she continues to be a pillar of the women's division, and her return hasn't just benefited Valkyria, it's also breathed life into ongoing stories with Bayley, Io Sky, and Zoe Stark. Behind the scenes, she's also been a locker room leader, known for advocating for more consistent storytelling in the women's division. After all, it was Becky Lynch who pushed for the women's tag team titles to be taken seriously, even when WWE Creative was unsure how to book them. And while some fans may not love everything about her run as big-time Bex, it's impossible to deny her work ethic and long-term impact. Her recent feud with Trish Stratus added another legend to her list of opponents. The way that storyline played out, with Becky carrying a lot of the weight, showed that she still has the ability to deliver in high-profile programs while giving others their shine. More recently, there's been buzz about Becky possibly heading into a feud with Jade Cargill after SummerSlam. WWE has reportedly been high on making Cargill a massive star, and there's no better person to work with her than someone who knows how to build a feud and deliver great matches. If that feud happens, it could mark another turning point, both for Becky and for the future of the division. Also, Becky recently teased on social media that she's working on a memoir. With so many chapters in her career, from being overlooked in NXT to main eventing WrestleMania, fans are eager to hear her unfiltered perspective. And that's part of what makes Becky different. She doesn't just play a character, she brings real-life grit and conviction to her work. That's why when she speaks, whether it's in the ring or in interviews, it resonates. Even when she's calling fans out for clinging to old narratives, she's doing it in a way that's blunt but grounded in storytelling logic. Becky Lynch has always walked the line between truth and performance. That's what makes her a great promo, a compelling character, and an essential part of WWE's women's division. Whether you love her or hate her, it's hard to deny her ability to take control of a narrative, flip it on its head, and turn criticism into fuel. That's exactly what she's doing now. She's not trying to win everyone over. She's reminding people of how the business works and why sometimes the most controversial decisions lead to the most rewarding payoffs. With SummerSlam approaching and her title defense against Valkyria just around the corner, Becky's not slowing down. She's reasserting herself as a ring general, a leader, and someone who still knows how to grab attention, whether it's with a mic in her hand or through the stories she tells in the ring. And if that means pissing off a few fans in the process, so be it. She's done it before, and she'll do it again. That's part of what makes her the man. Former Ring of Honor World Champion Mark Brisco has spent the most of his time in AEW observing the main event scene from the sidelines. He has continuously put up impressive performances both on the mic and in the ring, but he frequently loses against the best AEW competitors. But in recent weeks, Brisco's fortunes have started to turn around. He defeated Claudio Castagnoli in last week's AEW Dynamite main event and is currently involved in a bitter feud with MJF, a contender for the AEW World title. Tony Khan, the owner of AEW, met with Q101 on Wednesday to talk about Brisco's ascent in the rankings. Khan took satisfaction in Brisco's ability to take use of the new opportunities that have been presented to him and praised him as a man, a tag team wrestler, and a singles wrestler. "I'm really proud that Mark Brisco has become such a big part of the show," Khan stated. "Mark Brisco is a pleasure to work with, and every interaction I've had with him, whether in ROH or AEW, has been excellent." It's also true that Mark Brisco has won a lot of important matches. He has wrestled on several of the biggest AEW PPVs and had prominent positions. Additionally, he is one of my favorite coworkers and a huge star in both organizations. And once more, I believe that Jay and Mark Brisco would rank among the top 2 wrestlers I have ever worked with. As a result, I've had many wonderful encounters with Mark Brisco. And now, every week, Mark Brisco plays a crucial role in the show.